Well, at a time when there is raging face-off in India over Operation Sindoor and Donald Trump's repeated assertion that he brokered ceasefire between India and Pakistan, the U.S. president has now dropped the tariff bomb. He's announced 25% tariff on India along with the penalty. Why? Because Donald Trump says it is for buying military equipment and energy from Russia, as the 25% U.S. tariff on India will come into effect from tomorrow, which is the 1st of August. Now, while making this announcement, Trump also said the U.S. has had massive trade deficit with India and is also aligned with the BRICS nations. Now, in the meantime, let's listen in exactly what Donald Trump has been saying after 25% tariff bomb that he's dropped on friend India. Donald Trump says, however, negotiations are on and says talks with India are underway.
Today that India, in addition to its 25% tariff rate, would pay an additional penalty because of its support of Russia. What is that additional penalty? And are other countries facing the same threat?
Well, we're negotiating right now, and it's also BRICS. You know, they have BRICS, which is basically a group of countries that are anti the United States, and India is a member of that, if you can believe it. It's an attack on the dollar, and we're not going to let anybody attack the dollar. So it's partially BRICS, and it's partially the trade, this trade situation. It's the deficit. We had a tremendous deficit. So, as you know, Prime Minister Modi is a friend of mine, but they don't do very much business in terms of business with us. They sell a lot to us, but we don't buy from them. You know why? Because the tariff is so high. They have one of the highest tariffs in the world. Now, they're willing to cut it very substantially, but we'll see what happens. We're talking to India now. We'll see what happens. It doesn't matter too much whether we have a deal or whether we charge them a certain tariff. But you'll know at the end of this week. August 1st is a very big day.
Well, Srinjoy is connected with us. Srinjoy, good morning. What do we make of the statement of the tariff bomb, 25%, including a penalty that is now being announced by Donald Trump?
Yes, 25% tariff plus a penalty for buying crude from Russia and also being part of BRICS. Now, that's a lot of problems. Now, with Donald Trump, you never know what is the bottom line or whether this is the first throw of the dice. Now, we are getting to understand this could well be the latter, because Donald Trump is saying we are negotiating with India right now. And we know that a team from the United States will be in India to discuss tariff issues very shortly. So the 25% is a sort of first effort, a first throw of the dice. And therefore, things can improve from there is what we are looking at. Because he also says Prime Minister Modi is a friend of mine. And there's no doubt about that. Now, it is up to the negotiators. While Donald Trump has talked about 25%, it is up to the Indian government, it's up to the American negotiators to arrive at something that is going to be sensible for both countries. Because President Trump believes that India has a tariff wall, and that's difficult for America to climb and overcome. But that is not really so. India exports a lot to the United States, but also imports huge amounts of things. And in recent times, India just made one point, which was that, look, you asked for lower tariffs on your motorcycles, we agreed. You asked for lower tariffs on your alcohol, we agreed. Now let's discuss this whole issue. Let's do this below radar. But the problem is with the president, it's very rarely below radar. Nevertheless, he's made a point today that he hadn't initially.
Yes.
That while it is 25%, while there are penalties for buying Russian crude and for being part of BRICS, regardless of all that,
well, he's already called BRICS as anti-US interest, anti-dollar. However, when it comes to the MAGA response that he's now been getting, of course, the Indian side has also responded to the statement coming in from President Trump. Srinjoy, please to stay on that, because we're going to discuss about that as how India, meanwhile, has issued an official response to Donald Trump's tariff announcement. with the Ministry of Commerce and Industry saying that the government has taken note of the statement given by President Trump, and it says that the government is studying the implication of Donald Trump's announcement and the statement that added that India remains committed to the objective of fair, balanced and mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement with the United States. Now, the government asserts that it will take all steps necessary to secure India's national interest. Well, Rishabh is also connected with us right now. Rishabh, good morning. The statement coming in from the government of India suggests that they are looking into all possibilities. As far as Donald Trump's statement is concerned, there has been a lot of back and forth.
Well, if you talk about the Indian statement is very clear that we have taken note of United States President's statement on the tariff, and we are working on it. India still looks positive about the bilateral trade agreement, which it calls a mutually beneficial bilateral trade agreement, and and has very categorically in its statement says that the discussions will go on, and we'll have to wait for further notice. And also, since yesterday we have been discussing, since this tariff Truth Social post has come out, that we will have to wait for 48 hours. These 48 hours are going to be very, very crucial. 36 hours, next 36 hours are going to be very, very crucial. And it will be interesting to see how things unfold. And the things have started changing, accordingly as well. Donald Trump, after saying that 25% tariff will be imposed on India, now says that negotiations are on and over weekend things might change. So it will be interesting to see how things unfold.
All right. India, meanwhile, issuing an official response to Trump's tariff announcement that has now come across, saying that all of the implications would be studied, and however saying that the government has taken note of the statement given by the U.S. President. It says that the government is studying the implications of Donald Trump's announcement. Let's put that out exactly when we talk about what exactly when it comes to the tariff bomb and the announcement that has been made by Donald Trump, because it is 25% of the tariff that has been announced for India, plus a penalty as well for being associated with Russia and also being associated as part of the BRICS nations. Now, when we talk about Russia's share in India's oil imports, well, it has been a significant increase that we are looking at from 2021-22 to 2.1% to 35 from 1% as far as when it comes to the dealings with Russia is concerned. This is where, when it comes to the problem that arises with the United States of America, which has been calling Russia as a war machine, with the inclusion as far as when it comes to the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war is concerned. So Donald Trump, however, continues to reiterate that India is a friend, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is a friend, but this 25% tariff announcement that has now come at a time when India's taxes, according to him, are highest in the world, and he's been saying that there has been a massive trade deficit with India. Despite all of these statements that he has been saying that there has been a massive trade deficit with India, saying that there is not much trade when it's happening as per the U.S. goods being sold off in India, because there are high tariffs by India that is levied, and India is the largest buyer of the Russian energy, and India will also now pay a penalty starting the 1st of August, which is tomorrow. However, being associated when it comes to buying crude oil from Russia is concerned, and a penalty also being associated with the BRICS nations. Now this is coming at a time when the opposition back home in India has gotten an opportunity to target the government. As far as the opposition is concerned, they have been quick to jump to the conclusion. They are calling it as a catastrophic failure of Modi's foreign policy, where Congress leaders have been mocking the Prime Minister, saying that he campaigned for Donald Trump, hugged him, shook hands, but all was in vain.
ये तो प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी को और भारत को एक बहुत बड़ा धक्का है। तारीफ ही तारीफ में टैरिफ लग गया। हाउडी मोदी, नमस्ते ट्रंप, इसका कोई फायदा नहीं। तो हमारे लिए, हमारे देश के लिए, हमारे अर्थव्यवस्था के लिए, प्रधानमंत्री के लिए ये बहुत बहुत बड़ा धक्का है।
ये सवाल प्रधानमंत्री जी से कीजिए। हम अंधेरे में हैं, लेकिन उनके साथ इस देश के मिजाज के साथ कोई समझौता नहीं होना चाहिए। आज जो सरकार में है, कल नहीं होंगे, लेकिन ये महासागर की चरित्र वाला देश है, इसको कोई गदला करने की कोशिश करे, ये बर्दाश्त।
It is very unfortunate, but certainly it needs a total study as to how it will impact India. And certainly the government of India will take cognizance of this issue.
Well, some in the opposition has been saying that this move affirms India's autonomy, but multiple leaders from the opposition have continued to question India's foreign policy stance. Sabyasachi, good morning. Especially when it comes to the friendship with President Donald Trump. This is something that President Trump himself has been admitting, that India is a friend, Prime Minister Modi is a friend, but 25% tariff that has now been imposed, that begins from tomorrow, and additionally when we speak of a penalty that has been imposed.
Well, that's right. See, that definitely has given a lot of arm and ammunition to the opposition, and several of the opposition leaders, as well as different political parties like the Congress, the RJD, the CPIM, all of them have launched an attack on Prime Minister Narendra Modi, stating that Prime Minister Narendra Modi's friendship with U.S. President Donald Trump did not mean anything, because U.S. at the end has imposed a tariff on India. Now, the opposition says that the United States is punishing India because it is not entirely depending on the United States, whereas the opposition says that this is an attack on India's sovereignty, and at this particular time the central government should come out and issue a statement. In fact, they also want Prime Minister Narendra Modi to issue a statement on the claims that has been made by Donald Trump. Now the opposition says that time and again Donald Trump has insulted India as well as Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and despite the insult coming in from U.S. President Donald Trump, Prime Minister Narendra Modi kept silent in view that the tariff will not be imposed by the United States, but at the end the tariff has been imposed by the United States, and this calls for a strong rebuttal from Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and at this particular time he should issue a strong statement against U.S. President Donald Trump.
All right, with these statements that have been coming in, the opposition, however, continues to say that this is blatant assertion of arm twisting India's foreign policy, and the Prime Minister must speak up, and it is time that India regains its political autonomy, economic sovereignty and the moral authority by standing tall and pursuing an independent foreign policy. This has been the point of view coming in from the opposition side. Meanwhile, when we speak of the tariff bomb on India announced by Donald Trump, the opposition has once again raised questions on the center, with the opposition bloc that is now hitting out at the center, with UBT Sena saying that dost na raha, this jibe that is now coming across as they believe that India must deal firmly with the United States.
The government of India should not buckle down under the pressure, and they should tell that we are a sovereign nation and we are independent. If you want any kind of a trade deal, you are welcome. If you don't want, we also don't want to have any kind of a business with you. So India should take a firm stand.
सीज़फायर के लिए वो लोग भारत को मजबूर किया सीज़फायर करने के लिए, ट्रेड टॉक्स की तसल्ली देके कि ट्रेड टॉक्स में आप ही मदद करेंगे। आज के दिन पता चल रहा है कि जो टैरिफ्स है वो 25% लागू किए, देश के हित में बिल्कुल ही नहीं है। टैरिफ का जो 25% स्लैब हमें लागू किया गया है।
दोस्त दोस्त ना रहा, प्यार प्यार ना रहा। That sort of approach of and attitude is of Mr. Donald Trump.
The tariff issue is a serious issue. I think trade talks will on between the Commerce Minister and the different countries across the world, even including America. I think we should protect our interests of our country and take a call accordingly.
Well, however, within the Congress now is concerned, there seems to be a difference when it comes to their opinions on Donald Trump's tariff announcement. While the Congress terms Trump's tariff move as a failure of Modi government's foreign policy, its cynicism has now been addressed by one of its own leaders, who is Congress MP Manish Tiwari, who was also part of India's diplomatic outreach post Operation Sindoor. He's called Donald Trump's decision as the biggest tribute to India's strategic exceptionalism and strategic economy. Now, when we speak of Manish Tiwari, he's put out a post on social media platform where he wrote that Nehru's policy of non-alignment was now called multi-alignment, and Indira Gandhi's policy of self-reliance was now called Atmanirbhar Bharat. He says that these policies are strategic continuum that provide India with flexibility to engage with the world on its own terms and in the best national interest. Well, Sabyasachi, what do we make of the Congress MP's statement now? Because with the US President's threat, that has given, according to Manish Tiwari, more legitimacy to Indian strategic exceptionalism.
Well, that's right. See, Manish Tiwari has says that this is an opportunity for India to tell the international platform that it won't bow down under any pressure. Now, in fact, Mr. Jairam Ramesh yesterday, while issuing a statement on behalf of the Congress party, has highlighted that at this particular time, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi should adopt the strategy that has been adopted by former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi and call out the U.S. President Donald Trump and take a strong stand against United States. Now, this particular point has been reiterated by several other opposition parties, whether it is the RJD, the CPM, the TMC and other political parties. In fact, we had time and again seeing that the opposition had been stating that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the present government is continuously coming under pressure of United President Donald Trump, and because of the tariff and the claims that has been made by Donald Trump that he had brokered ceasefire between India and Pakistan, and the opposition says that for the 30th time the claim has been made by Donald Trump, and despite the fact the government of India and Prime Minister Narendra Modi remains silent in hoping that there won't be any tariff imposed by the United States. But at this particular time, the opposition is also of the view that India should take a strong stand and send out a strong message to
India has already
United
given out
States.
a statement there saying that they are now looking into as far as when it comes to the implications of the announcement that has been made. And of course, when it comes to the Union Commerce Minister, who has made it abundantly clear that when it comes to India's national interest, there would be no compromise. However, when it comes to the U.S. President's threat, according to Congress leader and MP Manish Tiwari, he says he's given more legitimacy when it comes to hardly affecting New Delhi's strategic economy. Now, when we speak